What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name's Greg. Hey, before you guys watch this video, I left a link in the description to my Cash App. And what I want you guys to do, if you've never used the Cash App before, sign up for the app and use my referral code. The second you send someone $5, you will get $5. So it's a pretty easy way to just, if you have a group of friends, everybody signs up, you all make $5. It's just easy, quick cash. Go see a matinee showing or something for a $5 movie, something like that. Enjoy yourself with this discount code that I am gracing to you guys today. Anyways, so today what I'm going to talk to you guys about are what are the best cars to use for Uber and Lyft driving, as well as what are the best ways to buy cars. I've used, I think, 5 different cars for Uber and Lyft total, so I've got some good experience driving different cars. I've also rented cars from Lyft and driven those, and there's also a lot of cars that we just know are going to be better than others. I'm always floored when I see someone cruising around in a pickup truck with Uber and Lyft stickers, and I'm like, bro, you're getting like 12 miles per gallon. You don't even qualify for XL, at least, no, you can't. Yeah, you need more than 6 seats. And it's like, why? Like, why would you even drive Uber and Lyft in a truck? So some of you clearly need to see a video like this because you're not getting the best way to make your money on this. The number one best car that I really believe is like the most effective, and I've had 3 different friends that have had this car, and it's a Prius. Unreal gas mileage. Obviously, like, personally, I wouldn't want to be whipping around in a Prius. It's not like the coolest car to be in, but like, you're gonna make the most money doing that because you will not spend as much gas at all, not even close. Like, I have a pretty good like fuel efficient car, but I'm still only at about like 31 miles per gallon, and if I drive a full-time week, I probably spend 150 in gas. A Prius is gonna be like probably half of that, maybe a little bit more. So to get to save all that extra money from your gas each week, I mean, that's basically just like getting tipped all that much more throughout your week. One of the hardest things for me is I'll be like, oh, I made, $800 this week on Uber and Lyft, or $900 this week on Uber and Lyft. And then I go back and I look at my bank statements and I see how much I spent on gas. And it's like having to like subtract like $150 from that or whatever it is. It's always like just a little bit like, it hurts a little bit, So I love a really fuel efficient car where you can save more money on that gas because you feel like you're getting more out of your Uber and Lyft days. This car is kind of like controversial, but a Tesla. I have a friend here in Phoenix who drives a Tesla with Uber and Lyft, and he loves it for his schedule because he only does about 4 hours of Uber and Lyft per day. So he's not having to constantly recharge the car. If you drive full-time, I imagine it would get pretty annoying having a Tesla because you'd have to recharge it pretty often, I would think. I mean, I guess maybe only once a day, but even then, it's like, imagine working a 8 to 12 hour day on Uber and Lyft, especially if it's something like night shift, and then you have to go find a charging station and sit and charge your car for 40 minutes and you're just dead tired from working. Like, that to me would be a little frustrating, but for him, on a part-time schedule, he loves it. He pays literally no money in gas. Everything he makes is just an even higher profit, really, than the rest of us. So Tesla's a great car. I mean, I think a really awesome way to use the Tesla is if you were able to use a Tesla and have it qualify for Uber Black, which I think you just need all leather seats and an all black car, and that's the qualifications. That would be, you'd be making some serious money doing that. So that's why I did want to put it in there. I think a lot of people would be debating whether or not they would want to use the Tesla, but I've heard really good things about using it for ride sharing. And plus, you got to imagine, if you're picking people up in a Tesla, like, that's a good start to the ride, right? So some other cars that are really good to be using, like, I drive a Nissan Sentra. I'm a big fan of it. It's not the most spacious car, but 5 seats, and it's got a really, like, a shockingly large size trunk, which works really, really well for my airport rides. And then obviously good gas mileage, and then, I mean, it's got its bells and whistles, but that's just because it's a newer car. But a Corolla is a great car. Honda Accord, Honda Civic's another great car. I like to think this is an interesting one, but I have a friend, he has a car. It qualifies for XL. I can't remember specifically what it is. I want to say a Ford Explorer, but don't quote me on that. But it's interesting. It's a newer model, and it's actually a hybrid. And it's just as big as the other ones. It's the same size. I think it's just a straight, I think it's a V6 instead of an 8, if they even had 8s. But it's a huge truck, you know, and it qualifies for XL. And he gets decent gas mileage. It's not like incredible, but he gets like, I think he's told me 25 per gallon as opposed to like 18. That's a huge jump, right? So he told me about one ride in particular he gave. And I've always wanted to drive XL for these reasons. He said it was like one of the craziest surges he's seen in his life. And it was one of the craziest surges he said he had seen in his life. And he got in, so he got a surge rate, and it was the XL rate, and it ended up being an $800 ride because it was 2 hours long. So just knowing that things like that are possible, I've always thought that, like, if you find the right way to drive an XL vehicle, or even maybe just Uber Black, the surges alone, you're just gonna mop up. You know, you're gonna make crazy money just off the surges. If you get, you know, one of those decent high mileage rides, I mean, one ride and you've made your whole night. Now, obviously an $800 ride is like an anomaly. That's probably only gonna happen like just so rarely, but it's probably pretty consistent that you give $200 rides during surges if you have an XL car. I can give at least an $80 to $120 ride, usually once a week from a really powerful surge. So if you're driving XL, I gotta imagine it's the same. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about the best way to shop for a car. Now, one of the key things for Uber and Lyft is do not ever buy new. I didn't buy a car new, but I bought a car that was nearly new. It was the first time I was ever going to drive. It's 21 years old. It was the first ever car I was like financing buying. I had bought little $1,000 junkers here and there, but it's the first car I'd ever financed. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to help pay this car payment by driving Uber and Lyft, because I had a buddy that had told me about Lyft. So I go get this like pretty nice Nissan Altima. It was about four and a half years ago. And yeah, it was a pretty nice car. I mean, it was a 2013 at the time, so that was like 2015. So it was only a 2 or 3 year old car. Had 16,000 miles on it. So again, not new, but like not like really used either. Like I would barely even call that used, you know. I put 10,000 miles on a car in a month, so 16,000, it's like that guy might have only had that car for a month and a half for all we know. And what happened was you just should never drive a car that's nice, that is that nice, because for one, if you're on a payment plan, you're gonna just get a lot of negative appreciation. And I have a few other videos where I talk about this and how to avoid it, so I'm not gonna go too much into depth here, but just do not buy a new car and use it for Uber and Lyft full time. If you're gonna just do 4 or 5 hours a week, whatever, don't even worry about it. But full time is just gonna be, it's gonna ruin your life, trust me. Like 2-3 years down the road, it's gonna bite you in the butt so hard that it's gonna be a rough recovery. So staying away from new car dealerships is always like a really, really big thing. No matter how good of a deal you think you get on a car, they're still winning on the deal. Used car lots are definitely better, but the main reason for this is that if you're putting $5-6 grand into a car, honestly, even if you got 2 years of full-time ride sharing out of it, you've probably gotten a good return on investment there, you know. But if you're putting, you know, 20,000 into a new car, it's going to screw you over. So used car lots are a way to go. Now, this is a newer way, and this has been really interesting to me, but I've had multiple people in the last 2 weeks told me they bought their cars from Carvanha. And it's been a really cool experience hearing about it, because what they've told me is that there's some really cool things they do. When you buy the car, you have a week of basically test driving it, and if you don't like it, you can return it and pick out a different car. So that's a really big deal for someone like me. I'm 6'2", so like comfortability in a car is really, really important. Like this Sentra, for instance, was a lot more comfy than I expected, and it was the only reason I went with it. I thought it would be too small when the guy that I bought it from showed it to me, but then I sat in it, I drove it around, and I was like, okay, not bad. So being able to get that experience for a week and go take a road trip and see how you feel in it, because you are going to want to feel good in your car if you're going to be driving a lot. The other things I've heard from Carvanha is that they work with negative equity, which is incredibly impressive because really no used car lots do. Also, they're not really, they're not paying like a sales team and a finance team. So their rates are pretty much exactly Kelley Blue Book value. You're not paying a commission out to some salesman. I mean, again, obviously they're making money. It's a business, but you're going to get a much better deal, I think, doing something like that than going to a car dealership. And for those of you that don't know, Carvana is a newer concept. It's almost like a car vending machine. Not every city has those, so just to clarify with that. So definitely look into that. That could be a really, really solid option for you guys. I know it really well could be for me. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to check out Cash App when you get a chance. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I got some awesome stuff coming your way, everyone. I hope you guys have a killer week this week. Talk soon.